Hi everybody, I'm Braven from BraveTECH Custom Electronics. Today we're going to be talking about the 1982 to 1990 Firebird headlight kit. So these are available on my website, bravetech.ca. I'll leave a link in the description below. If you do order from my website, please keep in mind that I'm just a one-person business. Every product is made to order, so I only start building them after I've received the order, and these things typically take anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks to fully 3D print and assemble. The whole circuit board needs to be fully hand-built by me, and all of the wiring has to be built by me as well, and then everything needs to be function tested. And I have quite a few products that take about that 1 to 2 week mark to build, and sometimes I get flooded with orders, so please be patient with me. I will get to your order and I'll send you the shipping and tracking information once I have prepared your order and it has been shipped out. Now, I tried to create these to be as bolt-on and plug-and-play as possible. As you can see here, we've got adapters to plug into your factory pigtails. I also created a plug to connect to your factory headlight pigtail. The only wire that you may want to connect is this one. This is the only thing that each side has one. These are just a 12-volt accessory wire. But generally they are as plug-and-play as possible. Pretty simple to install, and they just bolt onto your factory mounting brackets here. So, kind of a nice product. Now, how do we install these? So we're going to remove the factory front turn signals from our Firebird, and these are going to just slot directly into the, there's a little headlight bezel that these slide into. It just, you don't have to do anything with the headlight bezel, it just slots in there, and these will mount directly to your factory front turn signal mounting posts. So you're going to reuse the old hardware. Each side has its own 1157 style dual contact adapter, so that's going to give us our ground connection on the side. Then we're going to have our running lights and our turn signals here. So we're just going to go ahead and plug this into the factory front turn signal pigtail. Each side has its own. One thing you want to keep in mind is the pin orientation for alignment, so make sure that these are aligned correctly, otherwise you will have inverted functions for your running lights and turn signals, so just keep that in mind. Each side also has your headlight adapter, so this is a dual pin headlight adapter. One pin is the high beam and the other pin is the low beam. What you want to do is make sure that your wiring hasn't been modified over the time that your vehicle has traded owners, potentially. Sometimes the wiring gets messed up, but if you plug it in and your high beams don't work after you have connected everything else together, just make sure that the correct pin is getting the high beams. So you may need to swap some of your wiring around in your vehicle, in your headlight pins, just to make sure that the wiring is now correct. This is just something to keep an eye on. Each side has a 12-volt accessory wire. Now, these don't necessarily need to be connected to anything. The system can draw power directly from your front turn signals or your running lights and also the high beams, so they will function just as we discussed by making this connection and your headlight connection. They should function just fine. What this wire is for on both sides is if you want to run the headlights in show-off mode. They have a full RGB NeoPixel addressable display in here, the white squares. So if you wanted to run these headlights constantly at a car show without having your vehicle on and the running lights on, because they do need power from somewhere. They need a 12-volt supply from somewhere. So if you don't want to have to power them through your running lights or turning on your high beams just to give them power, I provided this option here. So you would want to connect these to either your ignition switch to an accessory wire, which means that these will only receive 12 volts while the ignition switch is rolled to the on position. Alternatively, you can just connect these to a toggle switch, which is fine as well. They don't draw very much power because they are LEDs. They draw a bit, but if you have a switch that's capable of 5 amps, that would be plenty. So you can do that as well. But again, these aren't required to be connected for normal functions. The final connection is on the back of both of them. There's this long wire. I've provided enough wiring so that you can try to route these wires down and around the frame. You don't want them to get snagged with anything. I recently had someone have their hood latch grab onto this cable and tear it out of the driver's side. So what this is for is you plug these two together, just press them into each other, make sure that there's no metal exposed because there is voltage running through these. This is a data communication line only. So the driver's side here actually has an onboard Bluetooth module in the back, and that's how you can connect to it with my app. And when you connect to this one with my app, it sends all of the data through this wire to communicate to the passenger side. So that's all that this is for, and if you don't connect these, they will still function, but they won't be able to communicate together for maybe one of the show-off modes, which is a scanner, so they need to know and keep in sync. So I use data communication to make sure that they stay in sync. And if you change the mode on this one via Bluetooth or enable any of the show-off modes, it's going to tell this one to do the same as well via this wire. So it's good to keep this one connected. One thing that you will need to do, because these actually get recessed into the headlight bezel, it's cupped above and below. So you're going to need to disconnect your headlight motor. This is because if you lift the bezel or lift the headlights, it's going to try to take this and tear it up, and it's going to break it all off. So you need to just disconnect your headlight motor and just run these as your dedicated headlight kit. I am working on a new bezel that doesn't have the bottom section, so you should be able to lift up your headlights and have these ones running at the same time. So that kit is coming at some point here, but again, I'm just a one-man business. One more point is that I have added these. These are load resistors. So I put a small load resistor on here, on both sides. Now these are connected to your signal light inputs. So when you are signaling, these are going to get a little bit warm. They aren't necessarily required, but some versions of the Firebirds and also in the Camaros, they have what's called a daytime running light module. And I never know which one is going to have it when someone purchases this product, and these are required to keep that module happy and keep all of the signal light and running light electronics happy while you're running an LED signal light and headlight system. So I just go ahead and I include these for every single pair that goes out, no matter what. So please mount these to the frame. They get a little warm during signaling only, so mount it to the frame to help disperse some of the heat from the chassis of the load resistor. But other than that, there's nothing else that you really need to do. So for a quick recap, we just want to plug in our 1157 style adapter plug with our dual pin contacts. Again, this is just running lights, turn signals, and we get ground through here as well. Please make sure to keep the orientation correct. Plug in your headlight adapter so that we get signal from the high beams. Route these wires for the communication. Make sure they are safe and out of the way, and then firmly connected together. And then an option is to add 12 volt accessory power to this via either ignition switched or a toggle switch. That's up to you. And again, these are not required unless you want to use the headlights for car shows and running the show-off mode. That's the only time these are actually required. And then mount the load resistors directly to your frame just to disperse some of the heat during signaling. You may be wondering, is there anything else that you need to do after you've installed these in order to make sure that they function correctly. Yes, so you're going to need a signal light flasher that is LED compatible. Factory flashers just won't work. It's called a load-dependent signal light flasher. A load-dependent signal light flasher is designed to flash at a certain rate based on the electrical load on the other end of it. So we need something that is able to accommodate lower power LEDs. If we signal with a lower power set of LEDs, that load-dependent flasher is either going to hyper flash really, really quickly, or it's not going to flash at all. It's just not going to work. So we need to replace this. How many do we need? Typically, vehicles have two flashers. One is a dedicated signal light flasher for your basic signal lights. You also have a dedicated hazard light flasher. This is only for when you turn on your hazard lights. That takes care of that. And we need to change both of those out, just so that under all conditions that you would use the signal lights, we're going to have perfectly functioning turn signals. Do you need to use BraveTECH specific signal light flashers? No, you absolutely do not. The only reason that I provided them is because I designed them and programmed them to flash slower, so they actually take a little bit longer. Not much longer, but it's enough to let sequentials. If you have these on sequential mode for your turn signals, they're gonna flash, and it just gives them enough time to do their full sequence. That's it. They will function with other signal light flashers, electronic LED compatible flashers from your local automotive store. That's just fine, but make sure that you have replaced both of them at the same time, and then everything should work perfectly after that. I spent a significant amount of time figuring out the LED combination for the headlights in this. It's very difficult for me to get headlights that make a nice focused beam out and projects out far enough in front of the car to be useful for nighttime highway driving. It's been a struggle, but these are very high power LEDs, and I put a 10-degree focal lens over top of each one of them, so we get a pretty tight beam. They're quite bright. These LEDs get quite warm because they are very high output, so I have added an exterior cooling fan to them, and there is intakes here that it draws air from. It also draws air from the front of the faceplates underneath, and this is just in case you get condensation buildup on the inside, so it should wick it away as it's pulling air through all of these. There's filter material inside each one of the ports so that you won't get any dust or bugs. There's filter material in the back as well. Just trying to make sure that these have a long lifespan. I don't actually run the high power LEDs as bright as possible. They're only running maybe about a quarter of their, or a third of their total brightness, because they get exponentially hotter as I push them further, and they don't actually have an equivalent increase in light output. So this was kind of just a nice brightness level for temperature as well. So they should have a long life in here. None of these LEDs have been pushed beyond what they're capable of. I kind of dial everything back a little bit just for longevity. I want them to last a long time. And that's it. If you enjoyed the product, please leave a like, and feel free to comment down below if there's any other items that you'd like me to design. Okay, see you guys.